My first attempt to fight corruption fought back successfully. I was removed as the head of state, detained for 3 years, so that we put committees to investigate for abuse in office. They were given back whatever they had misappropriated, and I remained in detention until a journalist from Edo State said my mother had to die to save me from detention, because I was only released when my mother died after 3 years. So, in spite of that, my objective of fighting corruption remains steadfast. We never intended, and we are not engaged in witch hunting.
And when I said, when you fight corruption, it fights back. Nobody fights in stages. First, they will try to compromise you, give you the money if you want. If you fail, if you refuse, if you are able to resist, then you will be a target of destruction. It happened to me all. If you are not lucky, you will lose your life. It happened. But I am grateful. I survived. And we thank God we've been able to at least show something.
That you can win some battles. Have we won the war? Probably not. But some battles, and you have to win some battles to show it can be won. The issue is, how do you weave all this into a bigger picture? Almost every government in the country has been accused. And see, you are giving up hope and saying you can't win the battle. There's one thing you need to remember, and I say it in the book. The majority of Nigerians are honest, hard-working people. But Nigeria is held hostage by a small minority of people. Why should we give up? That's what they want. They want everybody to give up. When you try to fight the corruption, they attack you viciously. And then they get away with it. And I'm trying to say in the book, we mustn't do that. And to give people examples of where you could actually block it, even with threats to your life, to your relatives. I'm not saying that everybody should take that risk, but at the end of the day, some people have to stand up too. And actually, there are other people standing up every day. Everybody, anyone else who wants to tell their story can do that. You see, there's something, when people make you a victim, they victimize you all over again. So what they would like to do, and they've succeeded in doing, those people who are corrupt, they intimidate people. They say all kinds of things, so you keep quiet. And I've said I'm not keeping quiet.
Let me ask you this. I have said this many times. I don't think that everything that's illegal is not necessarily immoral. And I've said this, I've said it from, the stage in church. I said, I have no moral issue whatsoever with stealing tax money from the government. I'm being honest. I would not lose a night's sleep in doing it. I won't do it because I'm accountable now to God and to my family. I don't want to put them in trouble. I don't want to make mistakes like that. People rely on me for a lot of things. But morally, I don't have a problem with it. And I'm being honest. And I often wonder myself, I say, well, why don't you have a problem with it? It's illegal. You're not supposed to be doing it. You're supposed to abide by the law. And like I said, I won't do it. But I don't have a moral issue with it. So I don't know where that puts me at times. Is that still the old me, or is that justified? Because I believe the government is corrupt. I mean, I read about it every day. I just wrote a book, Mafia Democracy, about the government.
Yeah, well, maybe you can't fight corruption with corruption. Maybe that just doesn't work. Even if your fundamental point is accurate, and maybe that's part of the ethos of turning the other cheek, which is a very complicated thing to think through, right? Because it can look like weakness, that's for sure. And I think often when people do it, it is weakness. It's not out of moral virtue, but it can be. I think if you turn the other cheek and you don't have to, well, then maybe that's something that's ethical. And I do think it's a dicey thing to fight corruption with corruption. And maybe that was part of the problem with you regarding the police as enemies, and then being willing to engage in criminal enterprise in some sense for revenge, is that even though to whatever degree your supposition was correct, the manner in which you chose to fight wasn't productive. It was just going to make the problem worse.